ओह वाह, व्हाट डिड वी जस्ट सी। लास्ट वीक ही हम बात कर रहे थे कि कैसे सिल्वर ने 3 लाख का बैरियर तोड़ा और हम आगे का हफ्ता कैसे प्लान करें। एंड व्हाट हैपेंड वाज हिस्टोरिक। सिल्वर क्रॉस्ड द 4 lakh barrier in few sessions, and on Friday it dropped 35%, erasing all that gains and closing below 3 lakh rupees. Gold followed its own pattern, its own shock, and also hit a lower circuit. While gold and every other metal followed silver's lead and hit lower circuits. Stay with me, this is probably gonna be the most important weekly commodity review that we're gonna have for some time. Let's look forward कि क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, what all mechanics played role into it, and what are the price levels to actually look for next week. I am Nikhil, and this is the weekly review of commodities with Groww. Okay, let's start with silver and see what actually happened. सो अभी हम सिल्वर का डेली टाइम फ्रेम देख रहे हैं. सो अगर आप डेली टाइम फ्रेम के देखो तो दिस बिग रेड कैंडल लुक्स एब्सोल्युटली मैसिकर. The high of this candle was somewhere around 3,83,000, while the low being somewhere around 290, which it closed on Friday. So the low and high range is massively, though it has only erased last 7 odd days of gains. So we are still higher than what we were a couple of weeks back. But the amount of actual move, the amount of actual money that went into this move up and down was high, was very high. So let's see silver R by R and देखते हैं कि क्या actually हुआ last week. So last week जब हमने close किया था silver, we closed around somewhere 327k के mark पे. And we were talking कि कैसे silver एक historic figure of 3 lakh rupees and $100 cross किया. This week it moved even higher. It moved another 1 lakh points up and made a high of 420 in the next 4-5 days, moving 4 to 7% every other day. Then on Thursday, at somewhere around 8 and 9, we saw a swift 10% move that happened on silver and transpired also in other commodities. That 10% move happened so fast that we could actually see prices flick few percentage points every second. And then a lot of it, most of that fall also got recovered, and we closed the day decent green, even though we had that 10% move. From the high of 420,000, we saw a massacre on Friday. Friday, the prices of silver was just going down. There was no stopping. Every other candle felt like people selling. It felt like leveraged ETFs, leveraged banks. Everybody who was leveraged was just closing their positions. And we saw silver circuit after circuit on MCX, where even if you wanted to place an order, you could not, because it just went one circuit after another, and a lot of people that I actually spoke to talked about how they were not able to exit their positions just because they never got a chance. Silver then closed the day lowest at 291, which is somewhere around 30,000 points, 30 to 40,000 points lower than what we actually started the week on. So for the week, we are now down on silver somewhere around 10%. Now you're gonna ask me, Nikhil, what actually aspired? Why did this happen? How did we not see it coming? Last week कुछ weeks से हमने बात किया कि silver के prices predict करना बहुत ही tough है. But the volatility that we are seeing in silver and the IVs that it is trading on, we had to expect a lot of big candles being formed. And this was once in a lifetime kind of a candle. So what really happened is Trump actually announced a new Fed chair, Kevin Walsh, and according to the street, this guy, Kevin Walsh, is more likely to cut rates. And that is what hindered the market, and silver and gold fell massively. And what we saw after was some leveraged ETFs and leveraged institutions actually closing their longs, which actually added fuel to the fire. So let's look at silver IV now. Last week, when we saw silver, it was trading at 55 IV. Now it's trading somewhere around 150 IV. That's a 100 vol point rise on it. At 155 IV, silver says that it's gonna expect somewhere around 10% ka move every other day. 10% is what the street is expecting silver to move for the next few days after we saw a great massacre 30-35% down. The straddle price, if we talk about the straddle price of silver right now for the Feb expiry, is trading somewhere around 70,000. That's 20%, 20 odd percent of the whole contract value for next 20 days of holding. So let's look at some more data now. लास्ट वीक हमने देखा कि कैसे सिल्वर MCX में कॉमेक्स से 9% महंगा बिक रहा था, somewhere around 9%. And then after that, it did come down in premium and went to somewhere around 3 to 2%, being more expensive. But by the end of this week, we went back to having a good 7 to 8% premium and closed somewhere around that. Ignore this last candle, because the MCX prices were at circuit when the last it was moving and the close was happening for the day. So we closed somewhere around 4 to 5% premium. Now we'll have to see if the demand in Indian markets actually keep up with the global market and stay higher than that. If we move back to 100 level where we are trading fair with COMEX, we could see prices in India fall furthermore compared to what the prices are at COMEX. This data point of actually silver पे MCX महंगा बिकना than COMEX actually tells us that there was more demand for silver here, and then probably the street, the markets, the retails, that everybody was expecting something from the budget for the silver and other commodities that was making it more expensive. So we will be on the lookout of what the budget has in store for the precious metals on Sunday. Let's look at gold to silver ratio now. लास्ट वीक हमने देखा था कि कैसे गोल्ड टू सिल्वर रेशियो अपने हिस्टोरिकल एवरेज 80 से काफ़ी नीचे ट्रेड कर रहा था, समवेयर अराउंड 50. दिस वीक इट मूव्ड इवन लोअर एंड वेंट टिल समवन 45. दैट मीन्स सिल्वर वाज कंप्लीटली आउटपरफॉर्मिंग गोल्ड इन द स्टार्ट ऑफ द वीक, बट इन द लास्ट 2 days with the fall in the metals, we saw that the silver to gold to silver ratio actually went higher. That means silver underperformed gold. What will be interesting to see here is if this reversal is gonna continue and if gold is gonna outperform silver in the next weeks. So let's look at silver again and see what to expect for next week. We are currently trading at 290,000. The high was somewhere around 420. That's a big range to look at. Last week we talked about how this local low of 290 is probably gonna act as support. We closed somewhere around this. So if we get a down move from here, that could mean a break of structure of this uptrend in the smaller time frame, and then we could probably start trading on the shorter side. Till then, till we do not break this, till we do not open up on Monday below this level and trade it for some time, we still expect this uptrend to be intact and prices to go higher. This price of 290 is gonna be treated as support. We closed here on Friday. If we see a up move, if we see prices opening up higher over here, then we can assume that the structure is still intact and we are still into a higher momentum on silver and other metals. If we open up below this price, we could expect some quick down move again, because the structure would be treated as broken. So this level of 290 is very important for the next week, and this is the place where you should pay a lot of attention on. On the upside, while on the upside, we see the price of 330, which we talked about last week, where it closed, is where we think there is a local resistance at. So this price of 330 is where the local resistance at. A price above this move could take us back to the local highs and the all-time high of 422. So for next week, pay attention to these two prices of 290 and 335. A range breakout of this could lead to further momentum on that side. On what to expect on the macro news around silver, as said, we also have to look what the other participants, since silver is traded globally, we also have to see what the other exchanges and other participants in the world are doing. If more leveraged long positions close over here, we could see drastic down moves. So we also have to be on lookout what the players globally are also doing. We will also notice if there is further news from the appointment of Kevin Walsh and his take on gold and silver and rates. Let's look at gold now. Gold had a great start to the week. We closed somewhere around 156 last week, and then we saw a high of 180, which is a good 16% up move in 4 days. And what happened after that was the story of every other metals. We gave a quick rebound. We are still trading somewhere around last week prices itself and trading at 150 right now. But keep in mind that the prices on MCX closed at circuit, so the prices of close might not be fair. We'll have to see what brings in Sunday open and the prices open at. So the levels that we are actually paying attention to next week is somewhere around 142 and 170. I understand it's a big range, but that's the time we are living in. So a breakdown or breakout from this range could actually mean a further continuation or a discontinuation of the trend. So these are the two levels where I will be interested in actually looking at to consider if the trend is continuing or not. So now let's move on and look at the IVs at which gold is trading at. Gold last week was trading at 28-29 IV. Now it's trading at 70. The drastic volatility that we saw last week has moved the whole structure on the options up. So gold now is expecting somewhere around 5% a day range from the 2% day range that was expecting last week. What would be interesting to see is the follow-up from the yesterday's move. If we have a 5% day on Sunday and follow-up Monday, we could see these IV further go higher and options prices shoot up. So for this week, we were only able to cover silver and gold because all of the action was somewhere around there. We'll try to cover other metals and have an update on gold and silver mid-weekly as well for the coming few weeks, so that we never miss out on the action that is happening right now. What a historic week we had. This kind of a move that we saw on silver, specifically yesterday on Friday, happens once in a decade, if not more. This is the GameStop moment of silver. This is the COVID moment of silver. This is once in a generation kind of a move that we saw. Trade properly, manage your risks, expect volatility next week. I am Nikhil. This is me signing off. We'll see you next week.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.